Hi, everybody. Jen Sylvan here from Texas Women's University. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. We have partnered with Madonna Rehabilitation Hospital. I am here today to tell you about Visions and Variety. It's an art show that has been designed for individuals who've survived traumatic brain injury. It is such an amazing program. I feel honored to be able to share it with you. This program is designed for adults, as I said, who've had a traumatic brain injury during their inpatient rehabilitation stay. Oftentimes they get started with our program at inpatient level, and as they transition to outpatient, they continue with us. The rationale and reasoning behind the program is in front of you. I could go on forever about it. It's wonderful. We want to offer support and an empowerment for these individuals. We want to offer an opportunity for them to be celebrated, to share their stories, an opportunity for them to connect with other individuals with similar injuries. Another reason for the start of our program is depression is very high among individuals with traumatic brain injury, and we're hoping to help counteract that depression and offer some outlets. We're hoping to offer a sense of pride and accomplishment through this program. Our motto, if you will, is to create, engage, exhibit, and connect. The premise for this program was based on the occupational adaptation framework. Reason being, it's just a fantastic model which allows us to discover individual people's motivations, as well as create adaptive responses and hopefully adaptive repertoires. These individuals are encouraged to find and explore their own artistic mediums and to identify their own motivations and desires for their artwork. We're hoping to teach them and allow them to learn new skills, which allow them to create new adaptive repertoires. Some of our assumptions: we know through research that TBI changes individuals' routines. It changes their level of engagement. We know that it causes a severe sense of depression. There is a range between 7 and 77% of individuals who suffer from depression, but the average is much higher. More commonly, individuals do have some level of depression after brain injury. Safety is often a concern. These individuals were often very young, very independent prior to their injury, and now suddenly, because of their injury, they're requiring more help. Their independence is decreased, however, their desire for mastery is still very high. So there's really kind of a clash there between what they want and what the environment's allowing. That's where we come in. Disadaptation does often happen after TBI. I've already alluded to the high rates of depression. There can be a lack of successful performance, a lack of opportunity, a heightened press for mastery. However, frequent failures can kind of deter these individuals from wanting to continue to try. There can also, over time, become an overall decreased desire for mastery based on repeated failures. So that's where we come in. Our wonderful program has 4 phases. The first phase is focused on referring the person to the program. So the person's individual occupational therapist that's assigned to them will perform an occupational profile during their evaluation of the person. There's many things listed here that we will examine. There'll be an environmental assessment, a physical, social, a psychological, and also just level of interest. Was this individual interested in artwork prior? If there's a good match, and this program can offer opportunities, that person's referred to our program. Our TBI program leader, who is an OT, then performs orientation, and we get that person moving right on to phase 2. Phase 2 is where that magic happens. This is where that individual is going to create their artwork. At the initial session, we're going to start with brainstorming a plan. What does this person want to do? What sort of art mediums are they going to need? We start setting up access to supplies. We collaborate with the other disciplines to see how PT, OT, speech, RT, how they can all help us meet this individual's goals. We as an OT are thinking about some of the factors of adaptation gestalt, primary and secondary energy. We're also looking at the environment. You know, if this person has limitations such as weight bearing restrictions, how do we need to modify things so they can be successful? We're also offering opportunities for group sessions to work on their identified art project and what they want to work towards. Once they've gone through all that, you know, so they might have been working with PT, for standing during their artwork. They might have been working in between sessions, in the evenings. Once they've created that piece, and it does not have to happen during their inpatient stay, but whenever that individual feels their piece is ready, it gets submitted for our monthly art show. Once a month, we have this show. The individuals come, they talk about their pieces if they want to, they bring family members, they receive an award certificate. They're allowed time to connect to other survivors and talk about their artistic mediums. The artwork will stay on display on our traumatic brain injury unit of the hospital for at least a month. That's our third phase. And then after that, we kind of transition into our fourth phase. That's our follow-up phase. So we have our TBI program lead touching base and just kind of seeing that individual's satisfaction level, their gestalt, talk about adaptive responses, and talk to the individual about how to take those adaptive responses and apply it to other areas. The TBI program lead will follow up and invite them to future art shows, make sure they have contact information for other people they're interested in connecting to. The whole process, we're going to be using outcome measures. Some of the measures we use are listed here. We want some level of depression scale to examine levels of depression when they first come to us, during the course of our program, and after. Same thing with goal attainment, relative mastery scales, an activity analysis. These are kind of ongoing throughout the whole process. We will be using Likert scales, 5 faces. That way, if someone has dysphagia and they're having trouble telling us their level of satisfaction, they're able to show it to us that way. The overall goal of our approach is to facilitate relative mastery of meaningful artistic occupations to both increase fulfillment and reduce depression for TBI survivors. We're using art to create adaptive responses, and it's really exciting. So again, we want to create, engage, exhibit, and connect. So I want to tell you a little bit about Chris. Chris just went through our program. Chris is 22 years old. When he came to us, he was a waiter who sustained a motor vehicle accident. He had studied psychology and received a degree in psychology, and he had a minor in art studies when he came to us. And when he first came, he was really sad. He was in his room crying a lot. His Rancho level was considered a 7. He had temporarily not been allowed to use the left side, both arm and leg, due to weight-bearing restrictions from some injuries he sustained. He had some mild dysphagia. He tested very highly on the depression scale. He had severe depression when he arrived. And we spoke to his family. His family was very excited about the opportunities of our program. And Chris came up with a plan to have a 4-part series. He designed 4 pictures. One was a picture of what life looked like for him prior to injury. The second was the actual injury. The third you see here, he called it the scream. This is his inpatient rehab, how he was feeling. And then his 4th was his future self. Chris was with us inpatient for about 7 weeks. And then his final product, he continued in outpatient. He would do it in between sessions. We gave him access to our art room. At the 3-month mark, he did submit his artwork, and he brought his whole family. His whole brain injury team came to support him. I will tell you, he was very proud of himself. There was lots of tears shed. He connected with 2 other individuals at that art show that he then has monthly dates to go downtown with those 2 individuals and explore artwork and discuss life after injury. He is currently working on performing a song on his guitar for an upcoming art show. So yay, adaptive repertoire, adaptive responses. He has really found a lot of pride in his work again. I wanted to share with you his words here you can see. He said, "Art has helped me to tell my story, to feel positive about myself," he says. "It provided a way to talk to my friends about what happened to me. It's also the perfect excuse to practice using my left hand again. My pictures are part of my history. It's created a focus for my life." And this right here is truly the goal of our program. We want to give people that that opportunity to really succeed. So here's our resources. This is very heavily research based, and I would love to share more with you. I've provided my contact information for you. We'd love to reach out for you to reach out to us if there's a way we can help you bring this program to a hospital near you. We found it to be extremely successful. Thank you so much for taking the time to come today.